Welcome to our Savvy series. I'm Catherine Magana here with Rachel Ivanovich, and today we're going to discuss vacation mode mistakes wealthy retirees make and how to avoid them. So here we are, it's summertime, and travel is one of the biggest joys a lot of people have.
And you're leaving on a big trip tomorrow.
I am. I was like, I should have saw this content before my trip, but
Exactly.
Here I am. But there's some good tips.
We learned some good things.
Right, there's some good tips here that I'll be able to use even after my trip and as I'm going in and being a little more intentional. But obviously looking at traveling, there's different things, whether you're on a cruise or if you're doing private tours or dining experiences or shopping and all that kind of fun money. Some spending can go, those habits can, all of a
get
sudden.
out of control.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wait a minute, what did I spend some of this money on? So we definitely think having a plan is important, and we're going to go over some tips with you today. So one of the things that kind of comes up as you are in that kind of vacation mode, and as you, for me, it's summertime vacation, but the reality is there's, some of the retirees that we work with, they're vacationing throughout the year. So this isn't just summer. It's actually something that's looked at yearly. And we actually have a new client that started working with us recently. And as we were looking at her expenses and cash flow and kind of her budget for going forward, she recently had given some money to a family member over the last 6 months. And so when we were looking at where she's at and some of her goals going forward, she had we were allocating money for travel, but she wanted to do this big travel expense and was thinking of going with a family member somewhere. And so we thought, but then as we looked at everything, she said, you know what, I've already been there. Let me save this. I'd rather go next year, somewhere else. And so it is important to look at, especially if you're doing not only the travel, but how does this tie in with your overall plan? And once again, she just gifted some money to a family member. So once again, you can do it. It's just what's the impact? And for her, she wants to travel, but she's going to continue traveling next year.
And I think it's important when you talk to clients, maybe we're not traveling during peak season.
Yeah.
Maybe we're traveling on the shoulder season. And it's really easy when you're traveling to get sucked into tourist traps. So maybe stay off the beaten path and talk to friends who've been to wherever you're planning on going, and maybe find the little back alley coffee shop or something that is not necessarily in the travel guides.
And like you said, go at different times of year, which can be less expensive. So what is vacation mode? It's really that mindset of, I'm retired, I deserve this, I should do this.
I've worked hard my whole life.
And yes, we think relaxation, having some leisure time, a time away from normal life is important, but really looking at how is that budgeted into your plan and your expenses and your life, and looking at it as, yes, if this is something that's important to you, then you should do this. And I know we've talked in the past about core values and what's important, and is this one of your core values is travel or family time? So that's something.
And there are ways to get deals and like a pro to go out there and really look for, sometimes things are on sale. Sometimes I just got something in the mail actually this weekend where it was Norwegian Cruises, I think, that came in the mail, and it was 70% off for the second person. And so I was thinking, do they really need people to go on cruises right now?
I thought cruises, I thought they've been pretty popular recently.
So I thought that, we put the numbers together and it looked like a great deal. So maybe we'll be going on a cruise.
There you go.
But look for those deals because you can see them. And you were talking about having a vacation budget, which I think is really important. And I think that, there are different ways to budget for the vacation. Maybe you're getting prepaid debit cards so that once the money's out, then, okay, I spent it. Or maybe you're using a credit card that you're paying off when you get back, but you're able to get points on that and or be able to pay for your airfare with the points.
So some common vacation spending mistakes that are out there are kind of those luxury upgrades, whether it be hotels, flights, or perhaps while you are traveling, decide to make some changes. But I know that, what I find sometimes is a lot of clients, they don't want to travel regular. They want to travel first class or business class, or they want a little upgrade because of the comfort.
Yes.
And so I think, that's just something you have to be mindful of, the cost, but I think it's okay as long as it's planned for. But those are definitely some additional expenses.
Large souvenirs can be a problem too. Do you really need that is, I guess, the question, because it's not just the cost of the souvenir, but it's also what if you get to the airport and all of a sudden your bags are overweight? Then you have to pay those extra charges too. So maybe don't pack as much if you plan on bringing souvenirs back with you, but maybe experiences over material goods, maybe something to think about too.
And as you mentioned, I'm about to travel. One of the things I didn't realize as we were booking everything until after the fact was some of the airlines and flights that we did, we paid for it or we used points, but then you actually had to pay to actually get this with the bags and the seat.
And the seat, yes.
And so I was like, oh,
Wait
that's
a
not
minute.
part of the price. So it was like and then on top of that, as we're gearing up, the cell phone coverage and certain things that if you want to enhance that while you're away.
Right.
And
what about if you get sick when you're
your medical
abroad?
coverage
Making
and-
sure that you've budgeted for that and maybe even have a little emergency fund because you don't know what's going to happen while you're traveling, but you definitely want that padding in there so that when you are traveling, I mean, my dad and my stepmom came to visit me in Europe my first year when I was living over there as an exchange student, and they got so sick.
Oh, no.
It was awful.
Okay. Aw.
Yeah, and they never came back to visit again.
Oh, goodness.
But they didn't realize that, and so if you don't plan ahead for that extra cost potentially of medical while you're abroad, because maybe you want to look into what does insurance look like for health insurance while you're abroad before you travel. That is definitely something that you want to plan ahead for.
Okay, so a couple other things to consider if you're in retirement is how is your travel spending eating into your plan? Do you have money allocated? Do you have to sell investments, or is this kind of a one-time big trip, or is it something you have planned year over year? And then if you do have to dip in, if it's like this big thing that you're doing that you wasn't planned for, if you do have to dip into any investments, where is that money coming from? And also there's also the sequence of returns. Is it coming from when the markets are up or down and fluctuating? So those are definitely things to consider. And then basically, how to travel without jeopardizing your retirement is really building the travel. So if when we do financial planning, we have clients, we allocate money for travel. There might be the basic year-to-year travel, but then if there's a big trip, we put money aside for that or put that in the plan. Or there might be a reunion or something big that you want to do with other family members, which is out of the ordinary. And so sometimes, we allocate a little bit money for the fun money, and then also start saving for those big trips.
And maybe you don't want to be going on the big expensive trips abroad, but maybe you're looking at what does it look like for weekend trips away. And if you're doing road trips or you have that camper, but you definitely want to make sure you're budgeting for that too. And look at, if you're going to be on the road, look at an extended warranty for car if you're going to be doing just trips within the 50 states.
And then another important aspect is to actually go back and review when you're back from your trip, your spending. How much did you really spend?
Did I blow it?
Right? That's something I can do when I get back.
Yes,
but
I can see you doing that too.
Yes, I did put together our budget before we went. And I
bet you're excited about it too.
I'm super excited. But I also think it's important, a lesson that, let's go back afterwards and see.
Yeah, how much did we spend?
How much did we really spend?
And where did we spend it?
Exactly.
That'll be good for the next European vacation.
There you go. Okay, so then a couple mindset shifts are kind of moving from unlimited vacation to intentional travel. And once again, we're not saying not to enjoy that nice vacation or trip, but just being really intentional with what you're doing and what you're spending.
One of the things our family does is we have decided for the last few years we're not doing gifts at the holidays. We instead put it into a travel budget.
Okay.
And let's go and do experiences and have fun together.
I like that.
Because it was so stressful for me around the holidays, and I was like, trying to get everything together, and then everybody's coming over and cooking and and the traffic. And we decided, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's just save that money and use it for a fun trip together or a fun experience together.
Nice. That's how, for some of our anniversaries, we'll say, okay, and instead of buying just something, like, let's put that towards either a getaway or, go do, like you said, an experience together.
My grandmother actually was the one who started that in our family because the holidays were so stressful for her. She started going to Tahiti every year for Christmas. She'd just go with her.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was never there. So that kind of planted that seed for me.
Yeah.
That, or New Zealand was one of her other favorite places. Wow. So I still have to go there. It's on my bucket list.
And so as we're kind of wrapping up, once again, travel with a plan. So we definitely think travel's okay. And especially if you're in retirement and you're feeling great and you're healthy, and it's like, why not take advantage of that? Because obviously, unfortunately, as we get older, sometimes we, don't move as quickly as we like, and it gets harder. But so I definitely feel that, if you're in retirement or phasing into retirement, plan, and even when you are
check
a little
in
older,
with us. Let's look at the budget, put it together, and we can help you enjoy your trip so that when you get back and you can actually look at where you spent your money, you can feel good about it.
There you go. So hopefully that gave you some insights about traveling in the future. If you like us to sit down with you and go over your budget or your financial plan, you can reach us at 760-692-5700. That's 760-692-5700. Thank you for getting savvy with us today about your finances, and remember to savvy up. Please stay tuned for important disclosures. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or any specific security. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results, and the indices referenced for comparison are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. As always, please remember investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. Please seek advice from a licensed professional. Savvy Woman Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC.